Hello coin collectors out there, welcome back to the Big D Coins channel. Now generally with coin collecting you'll come across a lot of wheat pennies that look something like this. Now there are billions and billions of wheat pennies that were made, and a lot of them have this brownish color to them. You can see that these ones are all pretty much the same color. Some of them will be a little bit more worn out, like this one right here. It's a 1944. Got some interesting texture to it, but a lot of them will just have this kind of generic brown coloring to it. This one's got some interesting texture, and this one as well. But every once in a while you'll come across a great looking wheat penny like the one that I want to show you right here, 1957. Check out the coloring on this coin right here. It's a very nice specimen coin right here. This one's 1957, so there's nothing special about the rarity of the coin itself. What's really special is the coloring and the tone of the coin. You might have heard me talk before on the channel about the red designation. So there's different coloring designations that you can get when you submit your coin to be graded by PCGS, specifically for pennies. And one of those designation, the highest designation, is the RD designation, indicating it's red. Now this coin right here, as you can see, definitely red. To get that red designation, it has to have at least 95% up to 100% red surfaces. Now, when the coin is originally struck, the copper will have a red coloring to it and then kind of fade over time. So to get that red designation, it has to be 95% or better. If it's if it's less than 95%, so 95% to 5%, that would be red brown, and then 5% or less, like a lot of these ones that we're looking at earlier, they would just get that brown designation. So this one right here certainly could be graded red. Now the reason why the person who gave me this coin probably didn't get it graded is because the amount that have been graded so far. So I went on over to PCGS to look at their price guide for the 1957D Lincoln wheat penny, like the one we're looking at right here. And on that, I found some interesting information worth sharing with you. So here's part of the write-up by Ron Guth. The 1957D Lincoln cent is very common except grades above Midstate 66. So keep that in mind when we start talking about how many have been graded at Midstate below 66. Thousands of 1957D cents have been submitted to PCGS in an attempt to achieve the coveted Midstate 67 red grade. As a result, the population of red 1957D cents has swollen, while the population of red, brown, and brown examples are low. However, this doesn't mean that the brown and the red-brown examples are scarce. Instead, it means that their value is too low to justify having them graded. So that's kind of an interesting concept that I haven't really thought about too much before when I'm looking at how many coins have been graded by PCGS. Some of them have a low-grade population to them just because people aren't submitting them. In order for your coin to have a highly graded population, like the piece metal Jefferson nickel that I was looking at earlier, that coin has to have the appeal of that high value to it. So people don't even submit the 1957 browns or red browns because they know that their coin won't get graded at a high enough value to justify the price of it. So you should inspect all of these coins right here for carbon spotting. That's one thing that could really hold this back as far as the price of the actual coin itself. Now, carbon spotting is kind of exactly what it sounds like. There are little spots that appear on the surface of the coin. So that detracts from the actual value of the coin. So if your coin has carbon spotting, it definitely wouldn't get that Midstate 67 red. Now let's look at the Midstate prices that PCGS has. So we're looking at 1957D red designation graded by PCGS. They have graded 1,692 of them at a Midstate 65. And guess what? The prices on those are. Recently, those have been selling for between $1 and $10. So that's not very good. PCGS has a price guide of $5 on those. The Midstate 66s, which this one could possibly achieve, I think it would have a good chance at it. It doesn't look like it was that well struck, which is kind of a bummer. So it doesn't have some of the details that you would really want to see in Lincoln's hair. But at Midstate 66, they've graded 2,000 of those, and they have a price guide of $34. Now the coveted Midstate 67, they've graded just 114 of those, and those have a price guide of $315. So you can see there is quite a jump between Midstate 66 and 67. I imagine a lot of those people who submitted, a lot of those 2,000 people that submitted the Midstate 66s were hoping that they'd come back at Midstate 67, and if they did, it probably would have changed a lot of things for them. The coin would have been worth $100 more if it had just bumped up one grade from 66 to 67. Now, as far as the actual mintages of this coin, if you've got your coin that's in the red brown or the brown, or even slightly less than this, it's not going to be worth a lot of money, just because the mintages in 1957 at both the Philadelphia and the Denver Mint were very high. In particular, the Denver Mint was over $1 billion. So there were 1,051,342,000 of these that were produced. So let me just say that again. There were over $1 billion of the 1957 Ds that were made. Over $1 billion of the 1957 S's, 1956 Ds were made as well. However, that wasn't the highest year of production. If you've seen a couple of videos on my channel, 1944 wheat penny is the highest year. There were 1,435,000,000 of them that were made. So 1957 D, very high mintage, over $1 billion made. Because of that, a lot of people have good examples of them out there that have been submitted to be graded. They need to be graded, though, very high for it to be a good return on your investment as far as time and money of submitting your coin to be graded. So that's my very nice specimen 1957D. I wanted to share with you another coin as kind of the foreign coin showcase very quickly on this channel. I went to grab a 1957 1 penny from the United Kingdom. There weren't any of them that I could find in my collection. I then looked it up and found that they didn't make any pennies in 1957 that are dated 1957. I'm sure they were making pennies in 1957. They just didn't date any of them that particular year. So I grabbed for you a 1967 to share with you. 1967, there are 654 million of these that were made. So there are quite a lot of these that were made, but about half of what were made for the 1957 D penny that we were looking at earlier. Now, this coin is a penny as well. It has a much bigger size to it in a different currency, of course. It has a diameter of 31 millimeters compared to the much smaller Lincoln penny that we're looking at earlier, which has a diameter of just 19 millimeters. So those are the size comparisons from the 1 penny UK to the 1 penny United States. Now, it must have cost them a lot of money to produce this coin. So we see this on the reverse. We see a seated figure of Britannia. That person is facing the right with a trident in their left hand and a shield bearing the Union flag in their right hand. We can see all the details on this coin, which is nice. We see the sea behind them. So we've got the sea behind them, a lighthouse. There's the shield with the Union flag and then the trident. And then we've got 1 penny, the denomination of the coin. Now, the obverse side certainly isn't as exciting. We've just got Queen Elizabeth II right here. She's facing the right. Now, the translation going around the outside of the coin translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of Faith. All right, everyone, that's all the info that I've got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this look at the 1967 UK penny and a very, very nice 1957 red Lincoln penny. So very nice Lincoln penny right here. Thank you for watching. Enjoy. Best of luck coin collecting out there, everyone. Take care.